Mid-1980s, a summer day, New Jersey. Thousands of kids and teenagers lining up at an amusement park, excited, energetic, ready for adventure. But this isn't an ordinary amusement park. This is Action Park. And before you enter, you have to sign something, a liability waiver. Because at Action Park, there's a risk of injury, serious injury, even death. It's also known as Traction Park, the hospital puller, Class Action Park, the lawsuit park, Accident Park, the crash park. It stayed open for 18 years, from 1978 to 1996. During that time, 6 people died, hundreds were injured, thousands of lawsuits were filed, and the most shocking part, everyone knew, families knew, authorities knew. Everyone knew Action Park was dangerous, but no one stopped it. This is the story of the craziest, most dangerous, most legendary amusement park in American history. Action Park, the only place where danger was part of the attraction. Every great or terrible story starts with one person. For Action Park, that person was Gene Mulvihill. In the 1970s, Gene Mulvihill ran a ski resort in New Jersey, Vernon Valley Great Gorge. Winter skiing was great, but summer? Empty mountains, empty land, no revenue. Gene came up with an idea, a summer amusement park, but not ordinary, extreme, thrilling, dangerous. Why should kids be safe? Why should everything be soft and slow, he thought. If they want real excitement, they should take real risks. Action Park opened in 1978. Gene's philosophy was simple: minimum regulation, maximum freedom, zero safety paranoia. The rides? He designed them himself. Engineers? Not needed. Safety tests? Too expensive. Trained staff? Why? 18-year-olds could handle it. And the weird thing, this approach worked. Action Park became one of New Jersey's most popular summer destinations in the 80s. Over 1 million visitors a year. Because Action Park offered something you couldn't find anywhere else: real danger. At Disney, you're safe. At Six Flags, you're safe. But at Action Park, anything could happen. And Gene Mulvihill was proud of this. Customers want risk, he'd say. I'm giving them risk. The problem was, sometimes that risk became deadly. One of Action Park's most famous and most dangerous rides was the Alpine Slide. The concept was simple. You slide down from the mountaintop on a concrete track in a sled. But this wasn't Disney's plastic, slow, safe sled. This was concrete, real concrete. Down the mountain slope, through the trees, very fast. The sled had a brake, in theory. A small lever, you pulled it with your hand, and it braked, again, in theory. In practice, the brakes were cheap, poor quality, often didn't work. And the result? People lost control. They went too fast. They couldn't make the turns. They flew off the track, onto concrete, into trees, into rocks. The Alpine Slide was Action Park's most common source of injuries. Every day, multiple people got hurt. Typical injuries: skin burns, friction against concrete, fractures from falls, cuts, rocks, trees. And in 1980, just 2 years after the park opened, the Alpine Slide caused its first death. A 19-year-old employee lost control of his sled. He flew off the track. He died. Did the park close? No. It reopened the next day. Because according to Gene Mulvihill, this wasn't an accident. It was part of the risk. And risk was Action Park's selling point. The Alpine Slide operated for years. Thousands more injuries. But people kept coming. Because danger was part of the attraction. But Action Park's most legendary ride was something else: the Cannonball Loop. A water slide. But not normal. This slide had a complete vertical loop in the middle. Loop the loop. You see them in roller coasters, but on a water slide? This is the mark of Gene Mulvihill's genius, or madness. Why not, he said, and he built it. The Cannonball Loop opened in 1985. Physicists warned, this can't be safe. The human body can't handle these G-forces. Gene used test dummies. The dummies came out in pieces. Heads broke off, arms snapped. Gene's solution? Live test trials. He offered employees $100. Who wants to try? A few brave or foolish employees tried. Most lost teeth, injured their necks, lost consciousness. But Gene was convinced. It works. And the Cannonball Loop opened to the public. It stayed open for 1 month. In that 1 month, dozens were injured. Teeth broke. Necks were strained. People came out unconscious. And then the state of New Jersey intervened. Finally. This must be shut down. The Cannonball Loop closed. It never reopened, but it became legendary. Even today, when you mention Action Park, that vertical loop is the first thing people think of. The symbol of engineering disaster. The monument to human madness. In the Netflix documentary, people who tried that loop are still amazed. How did we survive? Good question. But Action Park's deadliest spot was somewhere else. The wave pool. The tidal wave pool. Action Park's pride. At the time, it was one of the world's largest wave pools. The concept was great. Massive waves, ocean feeling, in a safe pool. But at Action Park, there was no such thing as safe. The waves were too big, too powerful, too dangerous. Machines controlled the waves, in theory. But they malfunctioned frequently. Waves got too high, too fast. People got swept away, got caught under the waves, panicked. And the lifeguards? 18, 19-year-olds, usually inadequately trained, sometimes drunk. There were an average of 12 rescue operations per day. Every day, 12 people in danger of drowning. The wave pool earned the nickname the Grave. And this nickname wasn't for nothing. 1982, 1987, 1987, 3 drowning incidents, 3 deaths. What did the park do? They closed the wave pool for a few weeks, then reopened it. Because the wave pool was too popular. It made too much money. A few deaths weren't enough to stop the business model, and people kept coming, kept swimming in the grave. They were aware of the danger, but it didn't stop them. Action Park wasn't just the Alpine Slide, Cannonball Loop, and wave pool. There were dozens of other dangerous rides. Tarzan's Swing. A rope, a platform, ice-cold water. You swung from the rope, dropped into the water. Problem, the water was too cold. Mountain Spring. Bodies went into shock. Several people had heart attacks. Aqua Scoot. A water slide, but no landing ramp at the end. You flew directly into the air, and where you landed, sometimes rocks, sometimes concrete, rarely water. Kayak Experience. Real whitewater rapids, dangerous even for professional kayakers. At Action Park, 12-year-olds were using it. Again, teenagers in control. Helmets, optional. Battle action tanks, motorized tanks. Kids drove them, real vehicles, real collisions. Head-on crashes were frequent. Super go-karts. Go-karts, but not normal. Faster, weaker brakes, and collisions were encouraged. Bumper cars, but the dangerous version. Each ride carried its own disaster potential, and they all operated simultaneously. Action Park was an anarchy paradise. No rules, no supervision, just chaos. Action Park wasn't just dangerous rides, it was a culture, a lifestyle. Alcohol was sold at the park. Beer, liquor, parents drank, teenagers drank. Sometimes employees drank too. 18-year-old operators ran rides drunk. Lifeguards drank on duty. Fights were common. The park sometimes turned into a fight club. There was security, but it was inadequate. And the weird thing, this was part of the chaos. People didn't come to Action Park just for the rides. They came for the freedom. In the 80s, Action Park became a symbol. Lawless America, boundless fun. Taking risks, being free, living wildly. If you didn't get hurt, you didn't play hard enough. This was Action Park's unwritten rule. Kids came home with burns, bruises, casts, and they were proud. "I got injured at Action Park" was a badge of honor. This wasn't just an amusement park. This was a rite of passage. Going to Action Park, surviving, was proof of courage. And this culture was part of why the park stayed open for 18 years. But what's truly shocking, how did Action Park stay open for so long? 6 deaths, hundreds of injuries, thousands of complaints. The answer? Legal tricks and political connections. Gene Mulvihill was smart. Every visitor signed a liability waiver. The park wasn't responsible. Lawsuits were filed. Dozens, hundreds. But Gene settled them all quietly. Out-of-court settlements. Never went to trial. Insurance companies? Gene set up offshore companies. In the Cayman Islands, insurance payments became complicated. Political connections. Action Park was important to the region. Jobs, tourism, economic benefit. Local politicians protected the park. State regulations. Very lax in the 80s. New Jersey's amusement park rules were minimal. Gene exploited every loophole. And most importantly, people kept coming. The park was popular. There was demand. There was no need to close it economically. But the 1990s arrived. Insurance became increasingly difficult. Lawsuits multiplied. Gene was aging. And in 1996, the major insurance company withdrew. "We're no longer insuring Action Park. Too risky." Without insurance, the park couldn't operate. At the end of 1996, Action Park closed. For 18 years, it was the most dangerous amusement park in American history. And then, it was over. Action Park's story includes 6 deaths. They appear as numbers, but each was a person. 1980, young employee at Alpine Slide, working to support his family. 1982, visitor drowned in the wave pool. He knew how to swim, but the waves were too strong. 1984, heart attack at Tarzan's Swing. Cold water shock. 1987, 2 separate drownings, same summer, in the wave pool. 1 child, 1 young adult. 1991, electrocution at Kayak Experience. Equipment failure. Each of these people went to Action Park one morning to have fun. None returned home. And these are just the deaths. Permanently disabled, paralyzed, traumatized. Who knows? Action Park's true cost will never be fully known. Action Park closed, but its legend didn't end. For years, people told stories. "I went to Action Park, broke my arm," a badge of honor. The internet arrived. Reddit, YouTube, forums. Action Park stories went viral. In 2020, Netflix made a documentary. Class Action Park. Millions watched. And for many people, Action Park is nostalgia. Those were the best times, they say. It was dangerous, but we were free. Others say, it was child abuse. It was insane. How did they allow it? 2 views, 2 perspectives. Today, that land is still an amusement park. Mountain Creek Water Park. But completely changed. Safe, regulated, boring, according to some. Gene Mulvihill died in 2012. Until his death, he defended Action Park. He wanted to be remembered as the best amusement park operator. And the strange thing, in a way, he was right. Action Park is unforgettable, legendary, a part of American pop culture. But at what cost? Action Park, 1978 to 1996. For 18 years, the favorite and most dangerous summer destination for American kids. Alpine Slide, Cannonball Loop, The Grave, Tarzan Swing, Aqua Scoot, each a separate danger, each a separate story. 6 deaths, hundreds of injuries, thousands of lawsuits, but also millions of happy memories. Generational nostalgia, legendary status. Action Park teaches us something, the balance between freedom and safety. In the 80s, freedom won, lawlessness won, and the price was heavy. Today we have regulations, safety standards. Amusement parks are safe, but some ask, too safe? Did we kill the excitement? Tough question. Action Park's legacy is complex, neither completely bad nor completely good. One thing is certain, there will never be another place like Action Park. There can't be. It wouldn't be allowed. It couldn't be insured. Gene Mulvihill's vision, or madness, remains in history. And maybe that's for the best. But the legend? It will never die. Action Park, the only place where danger was the attraction.